Welcome to richplanet.net, the programme which aims to uncover the truth behind the alien and UFO mystery. I'm Richard D. Hall, and in this week's programme we revisit the story of the Gateshead Grey in search for answers to this bizarre alien encounter. For those who have not seen the original Gateshead Grey, here's a quick recap. One evening, about a week before the presentation, I received a call from a Geordie gentleman. He asked me if I was the one giving the talk. He then said, "Well, I've seen them," and over the next half hour proceeded to tell me the most fascinating story about a UFO and alien visitation. Robert Hall was just 5 years old when the events took place, and he described how a UFO appeared behind an invisible barrier in his street. He and another boy were abducted, taken on board the craft, and examined by horrible creatures. His uncle Ernie, a coal merchant, lived in the next street, and also witnessed one of the creatures.
Well, I would put it this way, I was pushed out into their street when I was about 4. Right, but I was brilliant, if you know what I mean. We're watching a whole lot of soldiers marching along Southwell Road. After about 3 hours, we got sick of it. There was too many, it kept going on, we're getting colder, wanted something to eat. So we lived in Headley Street, you see, so we both run down to go around the back lane to our houses. You know when you look through a fire and it's wobbly? Well, that seemed to be the barrier. All you could see is the railway because we didn't see it till we got through this like a barrier. And we're under these horrible creatures, and they got a hold of it. And when they were,
Hold of this other lad as well, then?
yeah, and they took us both along, and the horrible looking things. There was about 18 and 19 creatures, the horrible looking things.
Can you describe what they look like?
Well, there was one, I know you're gonna take the mick. One was like Bigfoot. He was very tall, and the others were small, about 4 foot. And they were horrible ones. One had like a diver's mask on him, and one of the creatures was very good looking bloke, one of the aliens, and he had a kind of like a robe on.
Did he have, what colour hair did he have?
He was blonde.
And what colour eyes?
Didn't notice.
Was he?
But he had long hair, like ye. Well, a bit longer than yours. And I says, well, you can examine me. And I went in the capsule. No, that pulled the wall.
Was that a UFO?
Yeah, but it moved all of a sudden. It was at the bottom of the street. And they took it from there and they put it into the back yard. We walked through, he took me through into there, examined this, took some blood out of the back of my neck. He said, if you lift your head up, you'll be killed instantly. And I was petrified, or nearly pain myself. And I stood beside these other creatures. They were like men, but the tallest one was about 4 foot. And they went down to about 2 foot. There was 3 of them. And these other ones were all horrible looking creatures. No,
And this was on board the craft?
you know, outside the craft.
Outside the craft?
Yeah, and this was in the back lane.
Right.
But you see, with them, about 18 of them, they were right along the lane, right around we. We couldn't run that way, couldn't run anywhere.
And apart from the boy that you mentioned, was there any other children or any?
Yeah, they were trying to, the girls went into hysteric, they were, what do you call hysteria? They were trying to get over the fences, to get over the railway to get away. The big tall one was like, I know you're going to say it daft, but it was like Bigfoot. He got ahead of the other lad. He says, run, run. And I run up the back lane, straight up the street to Mona Holland's paper shop. And I says, the soldiers, there's some horrible creatures doing the lane. Oh, he says, it's children having a game, man. I says, look at the marks on my face, man. I says, it isn't. Of course, the soldier officer says, come on, there's a pistol. Go around the corner. Make me still look big. He come around the corner. When he seen what went on, he fired a pistol. All hell broke loose on Southwell Road. The men were running all over the place, you know.
So the actual craft itself that you saw?
It went up a height after that.
Went up a height.
But what I couldn't figure out for years where all them creatures went. They couldn't get in the small craft.
After Robert Hall's UFO sighting and abduction, he told his parents about the creatures, but they did not believe him. And he was told to keep quiet about it. This is by no means the end of this incredible story. About 3 days later, things took an even more bizarre twist. In the morning, Robert was going to the local shop for his father's newspaper.
Then I went to this shop, Mona Hollands, to get me father's paper. A grey come after us up the back lane. I run like out. Grey was on us like a shot. And I was a hell of a good runner. And now, as I screamed, my uncle only smashed its head in with a shovel. And he says, come on, I've never seen out like it. And he says, get Sergeant Brooks on Southwell Road. He'd be just coming off duty now. So I run to Southwell Road and Sergeant Brooks come along. I says, he's killed it. He says, killed what? And he went for his truncheon and had the old-fashioned police mark on, and he come around the corner. He said, by God, and he was crossing his son praying. He says, I've never seen out like it. They put it on a coal sack and pulled it into the backyard, into the coal place is still there to this day. They pulled it into there. You see, you get yourself away home. I says, no, I've been telling you the damn truth. There is your proof. Get yourself away home, Robert. I says, no, I'm standing here.
Absolutely incredible. Robert's uncle Ernie Wren had killed the creature with a coal shovel. This is the precise spot where the alien was hit over the head with the shovel. About 20 minutes later, according to Robert, a vehicle took the dead creature's body to a place where it could be hidden until authorities were informed. According to him, the hiding place was underneath St. Cuthbert's Church on Bensham Road, about half a mile from the incident. He said there were some steps at the back of the church which led underneath, down which the alien was taken and then stored for 3 months. I'm just standing now at the top of the steps by the side of the church where the alien was taken. I'm just going to go down the steps. You see, it's not very pleasant down here. The steps are very narrow. Okay. And there is a chamber. Smells not too good either. There's a chamber underneath here somewhere. Hello? It's a little chamber which is about, say, about 12 feet by 8 feet. And we're underneath the floor of the church here. If you can see this. An ideal place to store a dead alien.
And how they're doing it at the back of the church.
That's where the very narrow steps are.
Yeah.
So can you describe that entrance to the...
I wouldn't go and do it.
Robert also remembered a woman holding a baby coming out of the craft shortly after he had been let out. Robert was ill for a few days following the abduction. For 2 days his eyes watered and he suffered headaches. A small triangular-shaped mark appeared on his left cheek, which remained until he was about 13. After the events, Robert was intimidated and threatened by officials who he presumed were from the army or the government, who said that he would be killed if he said anything. A high-ranking man from the Air Force interviewed him and asked him to provide an account of what he saw. He remembers the Air Force official was called Marshall. He handed Robert a child's spinning top and asked him if this is what the craft looked like. Several months after running out of all leads in this inquiry, I decided to contact Robert again and ask him if he would revisit the place where it all took place so that he could relive the events of 1940. Robert kindly gave me some books which document some of the more well-known UFO cases from the 1940s. We'll take that away and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so just to go back to the sighting, Robert, in 1940 and everything that happened to you, we tried to find
Newspapers.
Well, we tried to find newspapers also.
Well, there was a major, I think he was Australian, I'm not sure. He had this, what a queer kind of uniform. Very bright turquoise colour uniform. And I heard later on how to get rid of them because they'll be easy targets, for the Germans in the war. But he was going to stop the newspapers being printed or get them destroyed. No, there was one lad that said there was one piece in one of the newspapers, and he told me. But, I mean, I wasn't really interested, you know what I mean? Well, why did they keep it all quiet all these years? I mean, I was told if I said out, I'd be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
They put the wind up me, and it wasn't the aliens what frightened us. Well, they were horrible to look at, but it was the blinking, the security, you know. You know what I mean?
So we've also tried to locate this. You know, you were with another boy when you were sitting on the wall.
Yeah. Well, he'd be an old man now, like me.
Aye.
He'd be about 2 years older than me now.
Yeah. So, is it okay if we go down there with you and you can just try and pinpoint which was his house? Do you think you'd be able to point us?
I probably could. I probably could.
Right. Okay.
Because I used to carry these batteries, glass batteries for him into his backyard, you know.
Because they were the batteries that powered the radios.
We had a portable radio. Also, he had a bike turned upside down with a wheel, and he used to try to work the radio with the bike. You know?
So you had like a little generator or something like that.
I didn't have a generator. I didn't, you know, it wasn't. But that was powering the radio, the bicycle upside down.
So I'm rolling the camera now. So when you went to
Mona Holland shop.
On that morning.
Yeah, for me, for this paper.
Right, which is the morning that the grey chased you. Whereabouts were you? Did you run up past this corner?
I come straight up this street.
Up this street?
Right? Run here, straight along there.
Okay.
So I run like hell along here.
Do you want to walk along then?
Right, do you want to walk along here, but I haven't got my stick with
So
it.
you were running along here.
You've gone in fast. Really fast.
And
well,
you hadn't seen it at this point?
No, not.
And then
I just glanced here to where that pole is. That's where it came. It was where that second pole is down the street.
Okay, so it was
that
that second pole.
It seemed to come out of somebody's backyard.
Right. Okay, and so it ran up here.
It seen me, and I was away like a rocket. I run like hell, got to this corner. And I fell over that, as I run, it was right up behind us, and I fell over this curb. Here, I fell over here.
Right. So just explain that again, Rob. You fell?
I fell over the curb here.
You fell over that curb, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, I only had the coal here, and he smashed the seat in with a shovel.
Right. So where was the alien when he did that?
It was on top of me.
Right. So it was there. Okay.
Then they dragged it from here, and he pulled it so far, and he says, I was shaking, and he says, Sergeant Brooks will be on the Southwell Road, come along, get him. And I would run up the back, up the front, around by Mona Hollands.
Right.
And Brooksy come around, and the both of them dragged it into that coal place there.
Yep.
We're standing watching thousands of soldiers going along here.
Just the soldiers were walking along here.
Thousands of them.
Thousands of them. And basically, you were round about here.
Yeah, watching thousands of them.
And then what happened?
We just looked up like that, and we seen it coming down, and we thought it was just a balloon at first.
So you saw just a bright light in the sky.
Funny shape, like a cornet. Watching it up ahead.
Yeah.
And there was a few other soldiers standing there. There was a few other soldiers standing there. And after a while, we just turned around and run straight down there. Well, he says, I'm going for my dinner, or something to eat. And I didn't think it was dinner time, it was in the afternoon. But he run that way and I run that way.
Okay, do you want to walk down?
Straight into them, eh?
Do you want to walk down?
I can walk too.
Like the invisible barrier?
It wasn't in the way, the barrier was invisible, but the things were on the wall each side. There was one on each side.
Right, okay. Which is where we portrayed it in the
but everything's changed.
So then
it was on the wall, and it like about 2 foot something high on this wall.
Right.
And there was one over there.
Okay. Yeah. And the UFO was basically just right here, right in front of us now. Okay. And then it moved.
Yeah. Hey, look at the cat through the window. Watching it. Hey, but You see, he went that, was going to go that way, and I was going to go that way.
Okay.
And there was all aliens here.
Right.
And we'd run straight into them, and they wouldn't let, we couldn't go into that way or that way.
Your house was down there on Headley
Yeah.
Street, which is just down that lane.
Yeah.
And his house was along here on Newton Street.
Yeah.
And so he was going to go that way. You were going to go that way.
And we were surrounded.
So they had knocked all these walls down
A lot of
for
them.
the air raid shelters.
A lot of them, that's how it was in there. And I think it was about here we were tucked in. Yeah. There was a little ramp. It's either that one or this one were tucked into the, in and examined.
Right. So this, behind this wall here is where the craft was, basically in somebody's backyard. That's where it moved
Well, that
to.
wall was doing and all that, and so was that. And the craft was in one of these. I think it was in here.
During my research, I have spent many hours trying to identify the boy Robert Hall was with on the day of the sighting. Robert cannot remember the boy's name, but remembers approximately which house he lived in.
It's got to be here. It's got to be one of these. It's got
So
to
the
be one
boy
of
who
these.
you were with lived in one of these ones here.
It's got to be one of these
Okay.
because I didn't get that far long. So it must have been about here, somewhere here.
Right. So it's the one with the light-coloured wooden fence. So we'll find out what number that is, and then we'll look at the names again on the electoral roll. After getting a better idea of where the other boy lived, I went back and checked the electoral records and spoke to Ada Woff again, who knew all of the families in that street. The boy in question may well have been an Alex Mitchell, who was 3 years older than Robert, but unfortunately is no longer with us.
There's no man there. Hello? Ah, I'm not sure you were the one.
Well,
Have you got a generator in your garden?
you haven't, no.
How old are you?
73 or 4.
Ah,
We've actually
you
spoken
might
to
have
this.
been the one. 1940 with the aliens.
No.
No, I think we've spoken to you, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've actually spoken to this gentleman, Robert.
Look here, I was playing.
He-
Only on
he
Metro, mate.
did you?
Not Metro, Newcastle.
Look
Right.
here. There was a bloke about 2 years older than me,
I don't know.
and I think they were Catholic, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And he had a generator in his garden, and I used to go and get his glass batteries out of the road at the shop in the corner,
Aye.
facing Mona Holland, you know?
Aye.
You know what I mean?
Well, really, I'm a Longby Hiller. I didn't move down to this until 1964, 1965.
Robert, there's nobody in this street who lived here in 1940.
I'm the oldest one in this street.
Mm-hmm.
And as I say, I've lived here 40 odd years.
Oh, way.
But I've never heard of that before, you know.
This is when all the creatures were along here. About
What
18
do
of
they
them.
call them the batteries for?
The batteries,
Aye.
well, they were glass batteries for the radio. You know, in them old days, they had glass, like a, is it like a,
Accumulator.
An accumulator, yeah.
they were like a house brick, size of a house brick, no heavy. And they used to have spuggy meetings at the end of the
Did
street. Oh, yeah. And I had a hell of a lot more than that. But I thought it was that shed here when you come?
No, I've been that.
There's a one like that, he had this bicycle in with the batteries and he was digging that.
And I say I heard him on Transport and Call.
Yeah.
Back on what your card.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and when he called him on Metro and
Jonathan Miles. No, it was on it's Radio Newcastle.
Yeah, no, the other one at night.
Or Paddy McD, you heard that one, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And then I heard him mention your name and I thought, is that the same guy? It was an hour front door.
Yeah.
I go, what the hell, listen to that.
Aye.
So, it's a lot what you said, I believed in, mate.
Right. And do you mind if we use this in a TV program that I'm filming you now? Is that okay?
Yeah, I should have my teeth in. And my hat on.
Look here, you know what I was telling you about? There was a stone shed just like that. And
Well-
he had the thingy, he was the lad.
Right. But you think it was probably this one here, Robert?
I've checked that and it's not that one.
Oh, it's not that.
I tell you who lived there for years and years. I can tell you who lived in all the houses.
Ah.
Nobody.
If he was 73, 75, it would.
His name, you know?
Oh, and that.
See, that's the thing, we don't know his name.
I think he was a Catholic, so I think they were Catholic.
So Mrs. Macklin upstairs, she was actually born there in 1890 something, and she died a few years ago.
We'll come back and speak to you.
It's not this one. No, it's not that one. No, it's not that one.
It wasn't that one then, okay.
Well, it must have been one of these. Can't get in them. But none of these railings was up. That's why the girls was trying to get over the railway.
Mhm.
And the bracken wasn't as thick as that.
So this was a wooden fence
Only
in those
about
days,
5 foot high.
about 5 foot high.
And they were cutting this with the wire and that, trying to get over the hands and the arms. They were screaming, they were in petrified
Right.
shock.
And this is where all of the aliens were lined up along this
Well,
along this lane here.
Right along here, you couldn't go along there, and they were along here now.
Right, and the UFO was basically in this backyard of that house there.
And I was standing beside that, along here, further along, with three of the little tinier ones.
These walls weren't actually here at that time.
No.
They were pulled down to build air raid shelters.
I think it was in there.
So
And I was standing by that wall along there with three of them. And you see the big tall one, you know, you see like Bigfoot. He was at that corner there, and there was another one there. And he said, Bob, we're going to make a break for it. And he run, and the big one got ahead of him, and he was trying to make him drink something with a tube. I was standing here, I was no little boy. I was, you know, you've seen the little blonde photo. And the three, 1, 2, they were here. They were just here, the three of them. This wall wasn't here. That's a new wall. They were just standing there, the three of them.
Okay.
They went from 3 foot down to about 1.5 foot, small.
Yeah.
And you could see their veins through the top of their head. They had no hair, they had the veins through the top.
So when you managed to get away, this was, this was after you'd had your neck interfered with.
Yeah.
You ran off.
Yeah.
And you ran up this lane here.
The street. I went up the street like a
Right.
rocket.
Okay. Right. And so then, what were you going to say about the other lad? What happened to the other lad then?
Well, the tall one got ahead of him about here. He was very tall, and he got like a tube with liquid in. He was trying to put the tube, make him drink it.
Right.
He says, "You run like hell, Bob," and I woof.
Your house was, well, you can nearly see it. It's the last one on Headley Street, wasn't it?
The bottom one, aye.
Do you want to have a walk along to where your house used to be?
Yeah, please. It's not a very nice house, like. I was glad we got a shift out of it.
In order to try and pinpoint the exact date, I went along to the Gateshead Historical Society at Gateshead Library and spoke to their members. I asked them how I could find the dates of troop movements from the 1940s. They were not able to help. Troop movements are not made public for obvious reasons.
That's where we live there, look, Headley Street. Everything's been done up.
This is your old...
That's the old house.
Yeah. Actually, it's different from when we came past.
It's different than the photographs.
All this wall's been rebuilt.
Hey, they're not doing them up, aren't they?
Throughout the whole investigation, I managed to identify one person who is still alive that lived in one of the 2 or 3 houses immediately next to where the events took place. I also found out that the children in this family were not evacuated during the war. Therefore, this person may have witnessed something. When I contacted this potential witness, it was very clear that they were not interested in anything I had to say, and it seemed that they were being evasive. This witness may well hold the key to unlocking this mystery, but unless they wish to come forward with information, we will never know. Any information which comes to light will be featured on the richplanet.net website.
They didn't call it UFOs in them days, they called them something else.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, aye.
Over the coming months, I will be speaking at various venues throughout the UK, including St Anne's and Newcastle upon Tyne. For details on future events, please log on to richplanet.net. You can also find details of my book, Aliens Before Gentlemen, and a selection of richplanet.net DVDs.